Yahoo Sports Fantasy Football Live is presented by Ram Trucks and by E-Trade from Morgan Stanley.
Happy Sunday and happy Halloween to everyone out there. It's week 8 in the NFL. We've actually got a game going on across the pond. I am, of course, Jeff Fisher, coming to you live from 1999. Let's say hello to my other friends here. Matt Harmon joining me. Are we in costume, Matt? What's going on here? This seems like something that you would just wear.
Actually, yeah, I said this before the show. I think this was a great look for me. I think I'm going to keep the cutoff jean jacket look. The hat, definitely. But no, I am Ash Ketchum. And, I would come up with some sort of clever, kind of allusion to how football is a talent collection business. Pokemon was a talent collection business. But the reality here is my wife and I had planned a joint costume for tomorrow night to pass out candy at the neighborhood. And she bailed on me to teach a double at the yoga studio. And I was not taking a total L on this costume. So I'm wearing it here today. And that's just how we deal with it this Halloween.
That's a glimpse inside the Harmon household. Thank you very much for that. I'm also joined by my former player, Tank Williams. Tank, great to see you. What are we in costume? Oh yeah.
Ride. Let's ride. Let's ride. Let's ride. Yeah. I call this the blindfold. If you haven't noticed, I'm throwing interceptions. I'm not throwing interceptions. I'm throwing the ball down the field at halftime to no one. This blindfold is not only for me because I can't see, but it's also for my haters because we're at 14-10. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Oh,
What a
That's
mess.
right.
goodness, that is just a perfect segue into the Broncos-Jags game going on right now. It's 14-10, as Russ just told you there. We got touchdowns from Jerry Jeudy. We got a touchdown from Melvin Gordon. We got a touchdown from Evan Ingram. I'm probably the only person who starts Evan Ingram. It's kind of a fun game. The Jags just punted back to the Broncos. Fourth quarter, we will, of course, keep you updated on that. But right now, let's take a quick look at some injury news this morning. We'll start with Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott. He will not suit up against Chicago. He's got that knee injury. He's going to miss a game or two. Raiders wideout Devontae Adams also, actually will suit up today against New Orleans. He had been dealing with flu-like symptoms for most of the week. On the other hand, teammate Darren Waller, inactive today with a hamstring injury. He was a game-time decision, and he will not be able to go. It seemed like he was close. We saw him in practice, but he will not play today. Finally, the Seahawks are expected to actually have both DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett active today against the Giants. Both had questionable tags coming into the week with lower body injuries. But the real task at hand here, we're going to try to get you ready for the rest of Week 8. So send your trickiest roster questions on Twitter using the AskFFL hashtag, and we'll try to treat you. See what we did there? We're going to try to treat you with as much sound fantasy advice as possible. Plus, as always, our own Scott Pianowski handing out candy over on Twitter, answering questions all morning long. All right, time now for Fantasy Stock Watch, presented by E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, helping you invest with confidence. Let's take a look at who's trending and help you make some confident roster decisions. Matt, let's start with your stock up pick.
Oh, man, it feels great to say with a full chest. Brandon Ayuk, big-time stock up in fantasy football. Obviously, we got no Deebo Samuel this week. That's a big deal. That's going to just push more volume towards Brandon Ayuk's way. But frankly, Brandon Ayuk was trending up even prior to this Deebo Samuel injury. The guy's had 11 targets in back-to-back games after, somewhat of a kind of shaky start in the box score. And I know people are sick of hearing me say this. This guy has been balling out, not in the box score. I get it. It's your fantasy teams, blah, 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 blah. But this guy is getting open at all levels. He's running incredible routes. When he's asked to, he's making incredibly difficult catches. I watched that game. I charted that game against the Rams earlier in the season. Guy was getting open, routinely, just cooking every single defensive back. You talk about big-time scout. Dalton Del Don, Andy, was at that game and reported the same thing. from the stands, a totally non-biased source. So Brandon Ayuk is a huge stock up. I think he's a top 15 receiver this week with Deebo Samuel out, and a guy that I think has the most secure role away from Christian McCaffrey now that his kind of influence has been put into that offense as the non-gimmicky receiver there.
Man, you should have led with the Dalton Del Don recommendation. That's all I need to hear to go start a guy. I'm going to go with Tony Pollard here. And this is kind of a layup call, right? No Zeke Elliott this week. He's got the knee injury. Tony Pollard going to get as close to a full workload probably as we'll see all season from him. And he also gets the Bears defense. The Bears defense on the season allowing over 4.5 yards per carry, allowing about 150 rushing yards per game. Tony Pollard is just a big play machine. He's averaging 6.2 yards per touch, well over 5 yards per carry, and he actually leads all running backs in yards after contact per attempt at 4.3. So he's been fantastic, and now he's just got a run funnel defense ahead of him. I expect well over 100 yards from Pollard in this one. I expect at least one touchdown. He's a very strong play here. But Matt, talk to us about somebody. Oh man, this is a Harmon favorite. You're going to tell us is on the stock down list.
Yes, unfortunately, I think Deontay Johnson, big stock down right now. And it's really not his fault. Like, you can take the yards per target metrics and just shoot him into the sun. That is not a receiver metric, and it makes me want to pull out what little hair I have left when people talk about that as a receiver metric. But let's stay focused here for a second, Andy, because the reality of this situation right now, I had Frank Schwab and Scott Pianowski on the preview podcast this week, and unfortunately, they tried to play, a little game of has Harmon seen it when it comes to a classic movie, like I think it was Rounders. This was. I watch a lot of film. It just happens to be all 22 film because I'm a dialed-in professional. And I'll tell you what, if you want a horror movie right now for this time of the year, you go pop yourself on some Matt Canada offense. The worst designed offense, I think, in the entire NFL. And it is bringing a guy like Deontay Johnson down. I just don't have any confidence in starting pretty much any Steelers player right now.
Listen, if you're looking for hair, I might have a little extra for you. Talk to me at the end of the show. My stock down guy, it's going to be Tyler Algier. And I actually don't think he's a bad start this week, of course. Atlanta facing Carolina. This isn't a stay-away matchup by any means. You look at him in recent games, he's playing about 2/3 of the snaps. That's fine. Hasn't been really extraordinary with the ball in his hands, but he's been productive enough. Found the end zone a week ago. Here's the problem for Algier. Cordero Patterson is posting workout videos of himself, okay? Like, Cordero Patterson is coming back very soon. Probably going to see him in the week ahead. So you've basically got one last chance to flex Algier, and then he goes back to a supporting role, a rotational role that you probably aren't going to mess around with in a fairly low-yield offense. All right, remember, E-Trade offers innovative, easy-to-use digital platforms and services that allow you to take an active role in your finances. For more information or to get started, head to etrade.com.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Hello, guys. This is Russell, your favorite boring guy robot. Yeah, that's me. And it's Russell's Dangerous Week 8 Ballers on a Budget. Okay, now we have Kirk Cousins versus Arizona at $28. I call this the Beam It Up Kirk. Now listen, have you ever done anything dangerous? Like play me in fantasy football? Well, if you can drop it low with dangerous, then you can put it in Captain Kirk. Arizona's defense gives up the 8th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Actually, I hate Kirk. He walks through the locker room tunnel and he says, "You like that?" And everyone on social media loves Kirk. And I say, "Let's ride." And everybody just wants to talk noise about me. Like what's up with that? All right, moving on. Tony Pollard versus Chicago, $17. I call this that everybody loves to back up. Oh, Tony. Oh, Bailey. Oh, Brett. Brett is not even Brett Favre, the guy who won the Super Bowl, the guy who sends pictures of his water moccasin to people who do not want to see it, the guy who steals money from the poor. No, it's not that Brett. It's the Brett whose last name, he's the nephew of the guy who won the Super Bowl. It's not even Wilson. My name's on the football. I won a Super Bowl. Where's my love? Traquan Smith versus Las Vegas Raiders. He's $11. I call this the Saint. You know why? Las Vegas is in New Orleans. There are a lot of sinners in New Orleans today. Traquan Smith isn't one of them. You know who is one? Marquez Callaway. He dropped a lot of balls last week. Caused a pick 6 for my man, Andy Dalton. Traquan won't do that. But now listen, you have to worry about Andy Dalton, the ginger fist. Taysom Hill is lurking. He's only $11. It can get a little spicy. But I think you should play him. It's a really good matchup, okay? Now at tight end, Irv Smith versus Arizona. He's $15. I call this the you on my nerves. You know why? Don't you hate when a quarterback just has people wide open running down the field and he won't throw it to him? He acts like he doesn't even see him. He'd rather throw an interception. Like, who does that? Well, Captain Kirk won't do that. You know why? Because Kirk is going to feed Irv. Here comes the airplane. Here comes the airplane, Irv. You're going to get fed today. And those are Dangerous's Week 8 Baller Zone budget. Now remember, you can still get in on the action in Daily Fantasy this morning on Yahoo. Our big 250,000 baller contest is open and you can win cash prizes. First place takes home $50,000. Visit the Daily Fantasy Football lobby and join in on the fun. It's pretty dangerous.
Oh, it's prop time, people. Man, nobody stays in character the way Tank Williams does. You know the drill here. We each discuss a favorite NFL prop bet and then decide if we like the over or the under. Man, I was on fire last week, by the way. Tank/Russ, why don't you get us started?
Malik Willis over 43.5 rushing yards, and like it's pretty simple to me. Like, did you see me on the sideline the other day when I was like, hey, yo, help our guys out, run, pass, hey, yo, 96, when you see it, run, pass. Well, hey, with Malik, he's gonna run and pass. You get it? Like, the Houston Texans give up the most rushing yards in the league on defense. It's pretty crazy. We have Derrick Henry. Everyone's going to be focusing on Derrick Henry, so that means who's going to get the major opportunities to just bust it out and just be sort of dangerous on the field. It's Malik. Look, he's so dangerous he doesn't even have any highlights. And guess what? I don't have any highlights this year either. But you know what? I'm still dangerous.
I actually love this call. I'm going to take the over here as well. I think you nailed this one. He steps right into a situation where there's really nobody to throw to in Tennessee. He's a gifted runner with a great matchup. I think he goes over this total. In fact, I think he probably goes over like 60 rushing yards. Matt, do you agree?
I do agree. This is going to be one of those situations, you know, when you get your fire Pokemon going against the grass Pokemon and you just use flamethrower over and over again. This is going to be one of those situations where Malik Willis is just running and running and running and running and running. And I could see him having more rush attempts than pass attempts in this game. So, yeah, 100% give me the over on this one.
It's a good call. What is your prop this week?
I mean, just for a second here, I came in so hot last week, you know, just dunking on Tank left and right, dunking on Andy a little bit too, but mostly Tank. It's unfortunate we have Russ here today and not Tank. And then I go the over on Michael Gallup and he gets stoned 0 yards. Missed 51.5 by just a little bit there, Mike. So I love Payne so much. So I'm going to give myself 33.5 receiving yards, but take the over on Elijah Moore there. I mean, this is a guy that didn't even play last week, right? Got benched because he wants to get traded. The whole thing going on there. Oh my God! I'm gonna assume that with Corey Davis out and them needing to kind of mend the fences here with Elijah Moore, that he goes over 33.5. They make a concentrated effort to get him the ball because also, by the way, they need to do it. They need him in this game without Breece Hall, again, without Corey Davis. I think Elijah Moore goes over 33.5 receiving yards. But hey, I'm going to throw this one to Russ down here. Zach Wilson's been about as bad as you are this year. Actually, probably even a little bit worse. So are you going over on this one? You think Wilson to Wilson? You think Wilson can get more of the ball here?
Trust me, I'm the king of petty. I used to love Pete Carroll and not even speak to him when we went up to Seattle and we played him this year and they beat us. And Geno didn't write back, and I'm still pissed off about that. Like, how do people still like, oh, Geno didn't write back? All of a sudden, that's popular. I say let's ride, and then y'all are still on me. Like, no. I don't like anything you have to say. And I don't like him. I don't even, who is that? Who is Elijah Moore? If your last name isn't Wilson, I don't know you and I don't want to know you. No, I'm not going to.
Yeah, that was a great explanation, by the way, Russ. Thank you for that. I'm gonna go under on this as well. I just can't with Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore. Like, I understand the argument about I don't know, are we calling Elijah Moore a diva receiver who's complaining and then has to get fed? I don't know, maybe. But Zach Wilson is doing the feeding. Elijah Moore's barely been a rumor all season. I can't do it. If he catches one pass, two passes, that's a huge win. I don't think he gets to 33.5. My prop this week, and I'm taking an under. I don't love taking unders, but all these lines on Atlanta players are just too inviting. Marcus Mariota, 161.5 passing yards. No, that's not going to happen. He's definitely going under this total. He hasn't hit this number since September. It's been 4 weeks, and he hasn't even approached it. Last week, listen, they attempted 13 passes in a game in which they lost by 3 scores. In fact, they were down 21-0 in the first half. They attempted 13 passes. There is no way Mariota is getting anywhere near 160 passing yards. I am taking the under on this. I got an under on Kyle Pitts that helped me last week. Harmon, do you agree?
Yeah, I will not be going optimistic on the Atlanta passing game again this week, so I will join you on the under after being an idiot last week.
Russ, can we sweep it?
Does Marcus Mariota have a popular saying that anyone on social media knows about? Oh, he doesn't?
Not that I'm aware of.
Over. Let's ride.
Wow.
Come on, Marcus, let's ride. Let's ride.
Whew. All right, well, let's take a look at the standings in prop country here, entering week 8. Look at me making a move. I mean, I see Harmon there in the gold box, but I see a 1 and 2 last week. I see him trending down. 3-0 right here.
Feeling dangerous. Still feeling dangerous.
I am surging right now, absolutely surging. But it is time for our first break here on Fantasy Football Live. When we return, Austin Eckler, maybe you've heard of him, he plays some fantasy trick or treat on Eckler's Edge. Stick around.
You want your sports news in more than just a few characters? With the help of a bunch of different characters?
You play better than me, I respect this like you.
He beat us, yes. I'm not a ball player. Prince had hops.
Hosted by everyone's favorite character.
Only time will tell if that's a lie or a big-ass lie.
You're Calais Campbell's brother, so Calais got the most sacks that he has is on me.
Give us 2 minutes and we'll give you The Rush. Weekday mornings on Yahoo Sports.
Welcome to Mad Bets, everyone. I am Minty Bets alongside Jared Clay and Pam Maldonado. I'm Ariel Epstein.
We've got a big Sunday night football game.
It's time for some Monday Night Football. Jared, let's kick things off with you. What's your best bet this week?
Oh, I love my bet with 5-star confidence.
Ariel, you can call it a homer pick if you want. It's not.
By the way, that probably will be in Prop Queen coming up on Sunday.
I'm gonna be busting these babies out this weekend.
Woo! You did that with your winning bets, huh? You've been on fire. That's what you're buying with your winnings?
Oh man, I love it.
All right, we are back here on Fantasy Football Live. Let's get a quick check on the Wembley game going on right now. The Jaguars taking a lead, 17-14. Travis Etienne is just having a monster game, over 150 rushing yards. He's got a touchdown. He has been absolutely great. But the Broncos are driving. Whew, boy, they're going to be at the 3-yard line. We are inside 2 minutes to go. This is going to happen. Russ, man, fantastic work by you. Good stuff. Great handoff there. And yeah, the Broncos down to the 3-yard line. They're driving. Hopefully they actually take a lead, because if this thing goes to overtime, that is going to feel like an act of war. But it is time right now to turn our attention to the flex position and our built to serve picks, brought to you by Ram Trucks. They're redefining what a truck can be and do every day with plenty of power, capability, and durability. Each week, we're picking players that align with these quality traits that can lead your fantasy lineup into a winning position. I'm going to start with my capability pick here, and I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd, in his last 2 games, has seen 15 targets. You want to talk about capability, he's caught 14 of those. He's got a couple of 100-yard games on the season. We've seen him score long touchdowns. He's tied to a quarterback in Joe Burrow, who is just absolutely scorching hot right now. They get a matchup this week on Monday night with Cleveland. Cleveland is allowing 7.5 yards per pass attempt. That is among the worst in the league. And I kind of buried the lead here. Jamar Chase not going to play in this one. He's got a hip injury that may cost him multiple weeks. That is going to mean additional attention, additional targets for Tyler Boyd. I think he's an easy start in this one, a high-end wide receiver too for me. Now, Tank, Russ, talk to me about durability.
Yes, hello guys, Russell here again. Deontay Foreman, durability. Durability, the ability to withstand wear, pressure, or damage. Durability is earned over time. Countless hours of blood, sweat, and tears. Countless hours of making sure you outwork your opponent. You outwork yourself. If aliens really do exist, you outwork them too. That's just how we work. What was I talking about again? Oh, Deontay Foreman. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard is out. So Deontay Foreman should get a lot of work in a good matchup against Atlanta. Let's ride. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Oh, my pick for power this week is going to be Brian Robinson Jr. Now, I'm not going to make any promises about his efficiency. He hasn't necessarily been the most efficient back, but he's coming off a game with 20 carries, and workload matters. It matters in a big way. Brian Robinson is getting fed. He's playing over 50% of the snaps. Antonio Gibson, kind of a nuisance right now, but J.D. McKissick is not. And Brian Robinson is the guy that they lean on when they get in goal-to-go situations, when they get inside the 5. So I think Brian Robinson, at any given week moving forward, he's been a great story this year. Really good chance to find the end zone. And again, he's just absolutely getting fed. He's not going to be much help in a PPR format, right? He's not running a lot of routes, not catching many balls, but man, he has been absolutely bankable around the goal line. And again, he's just getting a lot of work. We chase workload. Sometimes this stuff doesn't need to be that hard. All right, get those guys in your rosters and be sure to check out the entire game-changing Ram lineup at ram.com.
All right, we do have a London update for you. Latavius Murray scored a touchdown. The Broncos are now ahead 21-17. That's a touchdown. Yeah, Russ. Let's ride, baby. Both your running backs have touchdowns. That's very, very exciting. If you were desperate enough, if you were in enough trouble to have to start either one of those Denver backs. But enough of that. Let's talk about a good running back here. I'm sure you love getting your advice from goofballs like me, goofballs like Andy, and definitely goofballs like Tank. But what's better than getting real fantasy advice from an actual NFL running back? Eckler's Edge. This week we went over a couple of trick or treat debates between some guys who popped off in week 7 and whether they can keep it up. Let's check it out.
In honor of Halloween coming up, we're going to do a little trick or treat segment here on the show. We're going to take running backs who kind of like under the radar went off in week 7. We're going to decide if they're going to be a trick, not a consistent producer going forward, or a treat, consistent producer. So first, starting up here, Donta Foreman, running back, Carolina Panthers. Obviously, we talked about they trade Christian McCaffrey away. Gets 17 touches, 145 total yards against the Bucs defense, which is usually really stout against the run. So, Austin, we got to decide, trick or treat from Donta Foreman there.
I think it's tough because the Panthers are in a situation where I'm like, are you trying to get rid of all your players or what? Like what's going on? They're just trying to accumulate all these draft picks. They're going to rely on him and who they have Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard, right? So they have this 2-back set, and they're going up against the Falcons. So I'm going to say treat for this next week against the Falcons.
I feel like if I'm picking between those 2 backs still, I think I want Foreman more in fantasy than Hubbard going forward, but Hubbard did get injured at the end of that last game too, so that's another thing.
Then even more of a treat.
All right, next guy up, who always pulls through whenever he is on the field, Raheem Mostert. 20 touches, 109 total yards, touchdown in week 7 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Raheem Mostert's been balling out lately, averaging 4.9 yards per carry since week 4. And he, by the way, Austin, I'm going to go ahead and spoil this one. I think this is going to be a treat going forward because his schedule the next 4 weeks is awesome. He's got games against the Bears, the Browns, the Lions, I think the Texans after the bye week.
This week, yeah.
That one's easy. He kind of stands out in this crowd as like a guy with a bit more of a resume. So yeah, I'm with you. I think we're a treat on that one.
For sure.
All right, fantasy face-off time. You guys know the drill here. This is where we take one of the most popular waiver ads of the week and we measure him against similarly ranked fantasy commodities. We're talking about Daniel Jones here. And Daniel Jones coming off a game with over 100 rushing yards, over 200 passing yards. Doesn't really have much of a receiving core, but he's got a great matchup this week against Seattle. So, Tank/Russ. Let's talk about Daniel Jones versus the quarterback that he's going to see this week in Week 8, Geno Smith. Who do you like?
I call this the Chad Powers. Because of course I'm not going with Geno. Like, who is more prone to do high knees on a plane on a long trip going to the West Coast to play against a defense that gives up the 10th most fantasy points to quarterback? And my defense rolling in gives up 19. The 19th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. So, I mean, you know, like when I kind of do that analysis, because that's what I like to do, like I'm always evolving. And so I look at, hey, Geno, like, took my job over there in Seattle, and he's playing well. And Daniel Jones took my job where I thought I was going to New York, but he just is like Eli Manning, so therefore I'm going with Daniel Jones.
Sound logic, hard to argue with it. Both of them strong plays this week. Listen, if you're not doing high knees on a plane, have to question your commitment to winning. So good on you, Russ. That is a good call. But again, I think both can be top 12 options this week. How about Daniel Jones against Derek Carr? How are you feeling about that one?
I call this the communion, because Derek and I are just on a different level right now. Like, I feel like our spiritual flow is pure. And that carries over between the white lines, you know? If you don't believe me, just look at our bank accounts. And I believe that it's going to be blessings on blessings on blessings for Derek. And now you see I'm already about to get the win over there across the pond. And I believe that Derek is going to play well as well. So therefore, I'm going with Derek Carr.
Ooh, that's a little bit spicy, but I like it. Okay, final one here. Let's talk Daniel Jones versus Jared Goff. You never know what you're going to get from that Lions offense.
I don't even know what to call this one. This is a guy who was supposed to be a bad quarterback. I felt like I used to beat him up all the time, and now he goes over to Detroit and he starts to ball out. I went to a new team. You don't see me throwing around touchdowns and all that kind of stuff like that. Has an amazing matchup against the Miami Dolphins. Like, I mean, what's up with this? I mean, and that's the thing. Jared Goff used to be the butt of everyone's jokes. Now everybody's saying that he is not Matthew Stafford. He's better than Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl. But then people don't want to ride with me.
It's outrageous, right? It's outrageous. I think you're going Jared Goff there. Jared Goff obviously has a fantastic matchup, absolutely fantastic matchup. They both do, but Jared Goff has more weapons. I don't think there's any question.
Why doesn't anyone want to ride?
Let's ride. In fact, let's ride right into what the people want to know. They've got a bunch of fantasy questions. Let's do a little play calling here. Let's see. Our first question is from Joe Daddy. And Joe Daddy is asking, I'm going to send this one to Harmon because, man, Paris Campbell is such a longtime favorite for Matt Harmon. Curtis Samuel or Paris Campbell with a new quarterback?
Yeah, I'm avoiding pretty much anyone that's not named Michael Pittman in Indianapolis because we've seen the last couple of weeks that the Colts have gone super pass heavy, a lot of no huddle stuff. It feels like they're going to go completely the opposite direction with Sam Ehlinger in there for Matt Ryan. So I think that's probably going to put an end to the double-digit target games for Paris Campbell. I'm probably going to go with Curtis Samuel there.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed the Paris Campbell era while it lasted. That might very well be over. Let's go to our next question. It is from Amanda, and I'm going to send this one to Russ because Russ just won a football game. That game has gone final. The Broncos beat the Jaguars in Wembley. So Russ, Amanda is asking Gabe Davis, two absolute stars here, Gabe Davis or Devontae Smith full PPR. Which one are you going with?
Oh my. Oh my. Can I get these guys on my team? I mean, y'all put a lot of blame on me. I mean, but Cortland Sutton, he's been coming off knee injuries, and Jerry Jeudy, like, he runs like kind of, like, his legs look kind of like pigeon-toed and all that. Like, I just really don't know. If I could just have Devontae Smith going up against that Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I mean, did we see what Josh Allen did to them? Can you imagine what I can do with Devontae Smith against that secondary? Oh, my goodness. I would just be unlimited. Unlimited.
It's a good call. It's a good call. Congratulations, by the way, on that little fake touchdown pass that you had to Jerry Jeudy today. Fill in the box score, as always. Good job, Russ. Let's go to Adam. Adam is asking, I'll take this one, needs some flex help. It's a half PPR. Oh, man, maybe I don't want this one. It's Brandon Cooks, Darrell Henderson Jr. This is messy because Cooks picked up a little injury late in the practice week. Darrell Henderson has been ill. But I think I'm still going to go Henderson here. He's running behind a terrible offensive line, and he's facing the Niners, who, in my memory, have never lost to the Rams in the regular season. But I still think we have a little bit better shot of Darrell Henderson finding the end zone. So just a slight lean to Henderson in this one. Let's take another one here. We've got Don John with our next question. He's asking, I'll send this one to you, Harmon. This is a great collection of names. I can't believe he only can start one of them. Gabe Davis, Tyler Boyd, or CeeDee Lamb. You only get to pick one. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, this is a tough one because I think CeeDee Lamb is pretty much an unbenchable player. Gets great volume, got a good matchup. You know, Dak is back, should be a little more integrated, a little bit more back to his usual self than he was against the Lions last week, where there was a couple of shakier moments. So, yeah, but Gabe Davis is a guy I never want to put Gabe Davis on my bench because you know that the 30-point potential literally is out there for him. You know, Tyler Boyd, I do think, as much as he gets the opportunity with Jamar Chase there, is still a step back from these guys. I'll tell you what, Don John, I would probably go CeeDee Lamb, but I am certainly not going to talk you out of Gabe Davis for all the reasons that we just mentioned. I would rank CeeDee Lamb ahead of Gabe Davis, but you know what you're putting on your bench there if you do that.
Yeah, I hope the number one receiver here is like Justin Jefferson, because I can't imagine that many guys that I would bench ahead of the three players that are in this question. Russ, I'm going to come to you with a question from Ben. Ben wants to know Raheem Mostert, Devin Singletary, or Miles Sanders. Who do you got?
Ooh, this one's a little spicy, but I think I have to go with Miles Sanders, just for the simple fact I know there was a lot of hate, you know, going around about Miles last year, but hey, Miles has been balling. He's been getting a lot of touches. That Eagles offense is one of the better ones in the league. And you know the most important thing? They're run heavy, and you know Russell loves analytics. I mean, that's why I do my high knees on the plane. I'm smarter than the average bear. That's why I'm going with Miles Sanders, and you should too.
Yeah, everybody's going to be doing high knees on a plane now that it leads to winning, right? 1-0 after Russ does high knees on a plane. One last question here from the people. It is from Terry. Terry is asking Aaron Jones or Brandon Ayuk in a full PPR. This is a tough one. I'll take it. Aaron Jones is obviously very tough to bench right now. He's coming off some monster performances, but this week, it's Buffalo. Buffalo has just been a stone wall to opposing running backs. One of the best run defenses in the league. I think I'm actually going to go Brandon Ayuk here. You heard Harmon talk about him earlier. Ooh. He's in a blow-up spot. Listen, no Debo this week. That's a bunch of extra targets for Brandon Ayuk. He's in an absolute great spot here, and he's been playing so well. So in a full PPR, I don't think I can leave him on the bench. I understand Aaron Jones, plenty of appeal. Maybe you get a reception bailout on this one, but I really love Ayuk's spot here, and I do not want to leave him out of my active roster. All right. Time for our next break here on Fantasy Football Live, but still ahead, Ariel Epstein is in the Sportsbook with her primetime props for Week 8, so don't go away.
You want your sports news in more than just a few characters? With the help of a bunch of different characters?
You play better than me, I respect this like you.
He beat us, yes. I'm not a ball player. Prince had hops.
hosted by everyone's favorite character.
Only time will tell if that's a lie or a big-ass lie.
You're Calais Campbell's brother, so Calais got the most sacks that he has is on me.
Give us 2 minutes and we'll give you The Rush. Weekday mornings on Yahoo Sports.
Welcome to Mad Bets, everyone. I am Minty Bets alongside Jared Quay, Pam Maldonado. I'm Ariel Epstein.
We've got a big Sunday night football game.
It's time for some Monday Night Football. Jared, let's kick things off with you. What's your best bet this week?
Oh, I love my bet with 5-star confidence.
Ariel, you can call it a homer pick if you want. It's not.
By the way, that probably will be in Prop Queen coming up on Sunday.
I'm gonna be busting these babies out this weekend.
Woo! You did that with your winning bets, huh? You've been on fire. That's what you buying with your winnings?
Oh man, I love it.
All right, we've gone final in London, 21-17. Denver pulls it out against Jacksonville. Pretty fun game. Travis Etienne absolutely blew up in this one. 162 total yards and a touchdown. We also had touchdowns from Evan Ingram, Jerry Jeudy, Latavius Murray, Melvin Gordon. Pretty fun fantasy game, all things considered. Etienne, again, the star of that thing. All right. Let's go over some injuries here. In case you missed it earlier in the show, we've got some injury updates for Week 8. Got to start with Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott. He will not suit up today against Chicago in what would have been a blow-up spot. Zeke is dealing with a knee injury. Raiders wideout Devontae Adams will suit up today against New Orleans. He'd been dealing with flu-like symptoms throughout the week. On the other hand, his teammate, Darren Waller, inactive today. He's got a hamstring injury. He was a game-time decision, and he will not be able to go. Finally, the Seahawks are expected to have both DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett active today against the Giants. Both had questionable tags with lower body injuries coming into the day.
Ooh, what a special segment here. Fantasy Zombies. That is terrifying, that graphic. We're going to talk about some players who are going to rise from the dead here that haven't helped you so far, but maybe can help you the rest of the way. Russ, are you perhaps going to represent yourself here?
Hello, guys. Yes, this is Russell here, and this is what I like to call the I'm back. Yeah, you thought I was dead, huh? Yeah, you thought I was corny when I said I had Wolverine blood, huh? Yeah, you thought me just doing my little cute high knees going across the pond to go play those Jacksonville Jaguars. That's funny, huh, Justin Tucker, huh? Kyle Brandt talking about me on the red carpet, but you know what? 5 of my next 6 opponents, all of them give up the 10th most fantasy points in the league. You know what? So guess what? You know, like that guy in Philadelphia that they interviewed? I packed that thing too, and you will get clapped, clap, slap, clap, clap, slap, clap, slap, clap, slap, clap, clap. That's what Dangerous does. You know why? Because I'm Mr. Unlimited. Everyone should have an alter ego, and that's why I'm Mr. Unlimited. Who's going to bring your team back from the fantasy dump? Mr. Unlimited. Who's going to hate on your haters that's hating on you on social media? Mr. Unlimited. Who's going to be the one that's going to clap, slap, clap, clap, slap, clap, slap, clap, slap, clap, clap? You, if you talk noise about Dangerous, Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah, it feels like we have a few personalities we're dealing with here with Russell over there. And you got a few. 14 points today. Congratulations. You're off to a great start bringing yourself back from the dead. Van Jefferson literally hasn't been involved in this season yet, but I think he's going to be a big deal the rest of the way. I feel like as a fantasy community, we should not have oh, yada, yada, yada. You know, we yada, yada'd the Van Jefferson injury that he was going to miss an extended part of to start the season here. Because Van Jefferson, pretty good young player, had a very quiet 800-yard season last year. Obviously, he dealt with multiple knee surgeries in the offseason, so we don't know quite what we're going to get from him. But 13.4 air yards per target last year. He also earned a first down on 64% of his catches last year. The only guy who's over 60% this year on the Rams, yeah, obviously, it's Cooper Kupp. So Van Jefferson, this is the guy they need to come in there and take the lid off the defense. And I won't say this with as much confidence, but I will whisper, like, I do think this kind of helps out Allen Robinson a little bit. But I only want to say that very, very quietly. What I do want to say is that Van Jefferson should be on all rosters. I think he's going to be a guy that you could consider starting in your flex, your wide receiver 3 spot, because he's a big play threat, pretty good underrated player. And man, do the Rams need some juice right now. What we need in our life is more Andy and Ariel in the Sportsbook. Let's see what they got going on.
Oh, yeah, let's ride.
Yeah, you do. Welcome back to the Sportsbook. I am here once again with Ariel Epstein, the prop queen, and we are going to talk the primetime games in Week 8. Ariel's got no time for this Halloween nonsense. She's got money to make for the people. Let's start with Buffalo and Green Bay.
Hate it.
That's a take. That's a spicy take. So Ariel starts us right off with the under on Halloween. That's shocking. Yep. Talk to me, however, about
half
a guy that
costume under.
Candy corn? No, in or out on candy corn?
No, go get. The only thing about Halloween that helps anybody is that it's super cheap candy on Tuesday. So go have fun.
At least you found something. Let's start with Dawson Knox in this matchup against Green Bay. I'm starting him in like 4 leagues, and you think that's a terrible idea?
You're not going to like this. I like the under on Dawson Knox receiving yards. Green Bay has been one of the defenses to really limit tight ends. They allow the second least receiving yards per game to the position at just over 28 yards per game. Knox did go over against Baltimore, who's the top 10 defense against the position. However, against the Rams, 1 catch for 5 yards. There have been multiple tight ends to go under 31.5 receiving yards against Green Bay. In addition to Knox last season going under this number in 3 out of the 4 games where he faced the defense top 10 against the position. So I like the under 31.5 receiving yards for Knox.
All right, it's fine. I'll give you the yards. I just really need a touchdown. If I can just get a touchdown,
get a
fine.
touchdown. 1 yard,
yeah,
1 yard
we
touchdown.
can both be happy. Talk to me about Aaron Jones, because Aaron Jones obviously been great lately, but he is facing one of the league's best run defenses, and you like the under on the rushing yard prop?
It's another under for the Packers running back, Aaron Jones, and his rushing yards. I saw 47.5. You mentioned it, Buffalo. They have allowed the least rushing yards per game to running backs this year. Only 1 game this season that Jones did face a defense that's top 10 against running backs, and it was Minnesota. He had 5 carries for 49 yards. Now, yeah, that's over this. However, this Buffalo defense is even better than Minnesota is against the run. Looking at running backs that faced Buffalo this year, Darrell Henderson had a 47-yard game. Even Derrick Henry, only 13 carries for 25 yards. All these other running backs that I'm looking at who have faced this team have gone under 47.5 rushing yards. And last year, Jones also only had a couple of games where he did have a good performance against top defenses, but otherwise, the majority of the Jones games against top rush defenses, he ended up going under 47.5. Now you're going to be splitting carries with A.J. Dillon also. I like the under here for Jones.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's an absolutely terrifying matchup. Let's pivot to the Monday night game. It's Cleveland, it's Cincinnati, it's a fun rivalry. Looks a little bit lopsided to me. Talk to me about Jacoby Brissett this week.
Not a great matchup for Jacoby Brissett, who's going to be up against this Bengals defense that's top 10 in the league against the pass. This Brissett has gone under 214.5 passing yards in all 3 of the games last year where he faced a defense that was inside that top 10 against the pass. Even this season, look at quarterbacks against Cincinnati. You get Mitch Trubisky, who had 194. Cooper Rush had a 235 game and Joe Flacco 285. But otherwise, after that, you've had 3 straight weeks of quarterbacks with names like Lamar Jackson and Marcus Mariota, Andy Dalton, Teddy Bridgewater. They all had games under 200 passing yards against this defense. Up against a good pass defense like Cincinnati, go give the ball to your better players like a Nick Chubb and run the football more. You can see them taking the ball out of Jacoby Brissett's hands, considering receiver-wise, he doesn't really have many options.
All right, that's 3 props, 3 unders. It is a touching tribute to Minty Bets so far. Do you have an over for us?
I do have an over for the Cincinnati running back Joe Mixon and his rushing yards. Great matchup for him. The Browns allowed the 6th most rushing yards per game to running back. A lot of different running backs have, this number is pretty low, 65.5. Just looking at the last few weeks, Our own Austin Eckler, 173 rushing yard game against this defense. Ramondre Stevenson and Gus Edwards also went over this number. And Joe Mixon, he hasn't even faced a bottom 10 run defense yet this year. Every defense that Mixon has faced has been in the top 15, top 20 in run defense. This is the worst run defense he's seen. It's time for Joe Mixon to go over this number on his rushing yards prop of, I'm seeing a 65.5.
Yeah, I actually love that call. Joe Mixon on pace for like a zillion touches on the season. They just keep feeding him. Before we let you go, give us your lock of the week.
For taking a side, I like the Houston Texans taking a point. This is my fishy line of the day. We're seeing majority of the action come in on the Titans, and yet the line has flipped in favor of Houston. Something's a little fishy here. The only thing Tennessee really has going for them in this game is that Derrick Henry has rushed for 200 yards against Houston in like 4 straight games or 3 straight games. Yeah, does he destroy them? Sure, but the Texans at home, their quarterback Davis Mills is someone I'm really focusing in on today. The Titans have a bottom 10 pass defense. They're bottom 10 against passing touchdowns as well. Davis Mills at home this season has been so good, and even last year at home against the bottom 10 defense like Tennessee, Mills had at least 300 passing yards in both those games. I'll take Davis Mills props to the over today, and I'm taking the Houston Texans.
All right, Ariel, thank you so much. New users, by the way, at BetMGM can take advantage of a special offer this Sunday. Bet $10 on any game, yes, any game, and you win $200. Sign up today at betmgm.com/YahooVIP.
Let's ride into our Make Your Pick segment here. This is where we help you with your very, very, very difficult start-sit decisions. Let's see what the people are asking us. Russ/Tank/whoever the hell you are right now. RLAC17, very good read there by me, asks in a standard league, Najee Harris, Eno Benjamin, Michael Carter, A.J. Dillon, pick 2. I'll tell you what, we're going to ride A.J. Dillon straight to the bench, that's for sure. So of these other options here, Russ/Tank/whoever you are, give me your picks here, 2 of them.
The Arizona Cardinals, I used to play against them a lot. I know what they can do. I remember seeing that game last year against the Arizona Cardinals and the Minnesota Vikings, and it was spectacular. It looked like something that I used to be able to do when I had, a lot of great athletes that I could throw the ball around, and then they would run the ball around with me. So I like Eno Benjamin. And, I got to go with Michael Carter. Breece Hall is out. I know they bring in James Robinson. He wasn't across the pond when we were over there waxing those Jaguars. But Michael Carter, he's familiar with the system. It takes a little while to get acclimated to a new team. Trust me, I know. So Michael Carter's going to hold down the ship. Decent matchup against their rival, New England Patriots. I like those 2 guys in the middle, Eno and Michael. Michael and Eno.
Yeah, never thought I'd say this, but Russ, I'm on the same page as you with this one. All right, next we'll go to Dan. Yeah, I don't know if you're cooking, pal. Dan says half PPR, need 2 for a flex. Oh, Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, you wish you had somebody as good as Brandon Ayuk on that Denver Broncos roster, Russ. We got Khalil Herbert, Damian Harris, and Paris Campbell for this one. Russ, I want to hear you say how much Brandon Ayuk stands out from the rest of these dusty options.
Hey, listen, man, don't take my corniness for weakness, because I will come down there and put my hand of viciousness on you, because I'm a Wolverine. I told you, I got Wolverine blood in me. I heal quickly, and I got fangs that come out. Who are we talking about again? Who is this? Brandon Ayuk? I actually can say his name, because, that guy's a baller. I'll tell you one thing, he wouldn't drop some of the passes that I be throwing around out there. So, yeah, I like a Brandon Ayuk, and you know who else I like? I like this guy who has the French last name. Was it Herbert? I like both of those. Bear, Khalil Bear, yeah, those 2 guys, Ayuk and Bear.
I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. So let's just move on to Lunatic. Lunatic. I like that one. They want to know. Oh, I know. Yeah, okay. Well, you say a lot here. Just out of their 2 buys and haven't found a doable trade yet. Need to sit one. Oh, I love these. Comes in. I need to sit one. I need to sit one of these great options here, man. Oh, wow, Lunatic. What are you writing into us for, man? You don't need our help. You got Josh Jacobs. You got Kenneth Walker. You got Nick Chubb, and you got Dalvin Cook. Three great options there. Russ, I mean, you've got dial into your Wolverine blood or your spicy sandwich or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it's Dalvin Cook. That's the bench here, but God, I don't like saying that. What do you think?
I feel like we shouldn't even give this lunatic a response. Have you ever filmed the Subway commercial and got paid money for it, and someone had to actually take it down because you got clowned so much? Like, that's how much we should clown you for asking us if you should sit either Josh Jacobs, K9, Nick Chubb, or Dalvin Cook. You know what? The hell that I've been getting the past month where I'm laughing outside but I'm crying inside, you do not deserve a response, so just go with a harmless response. I hate you.
I did my best here. All right, let's try to collect ourselves and let's send it over to Andy for some last-minute sleepers.
Oh, I'm going to start with a guy that they just discussed in Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert's only getting started in about 12% of Yahoo leagues. That kind of shocks me. He's coming up, Sherbert, Herbert, Abear, whatever you want to call him. He's a great play this week. He gets Dallas, and we know the Bears are a run-committed football team, right? He's coming off a game in which he played over 40% of the snaps. He's now basically in a committee with David Montgomery, and Herbert is averaging over 6 yards per carry. He's been fantastic. Just turned 13 touches into 87 yards and a touchdown. Facing a Dallas defense this week that, look, you just can't pass against them. They've been very good against the pass, but they've been pretty generous to opposing rushers. I think Herbert is in another situation here where he sees somewhere between 12 and 15 touches, gives you another 80 yards, good chance of scoring Chicago's lone offensive touchdown. And then a deeper flyer that I'm willing to take this week, Harrison Bryant. Harrison Bryant of the Browns playing on Monday night. David Njoku is injured right now, right? And Njoku had basically emerged as like the tight end 3, tight end 4 in our ranks each week. He was seeing over 7 targets a game over his last 5. Well, he's not going to be playing here. We're down to Harrison Bryant, and Harrison Bryant's pretty good. He's been playing over 50% of the snaps for Cleveland. He's got 6 touchdowns over his 3 NFL seasons. Been in a secondary role, but he's going to get featured now because they have such poor receiving options generally. So all we really look for at the tight end spot is somebody who has a chance to score a touchdown, and that is definitely Bryant right now. So get him into your rosters wherever you have a need at tight end, which is most places, I would imagine. All right, it is time now for our final break on Fantasy Football Live. More roster questions in just a moment.
You want your sports news in more than just a few characters? With the help of a bunch of different characters?
You play better than me, I respect this out of you.
He beat us, yes. I'm not a ball player. Prince had hops.
Hosted by everyone's favorite character.
Only time will tell if that's a lie or a big-ass lie.
You're Calais Campbell's brother, so Calais got the most sacks that he has is on me.
Give us 2 minutes and we'll give you The Rush. Weekday mornings on Yahoo Sports.
Welcome to Mad Bets, everyone. I am Minty Bets alongside Jared Quay and Pam Maldonado. I'm Ariel Epstein.
We've got a big Sunday night football game.
It's time for some Monday Night Football. Jared, let's kick things off with you. What's your best bet this week?
Oh, I love my bet with 5-star confidence.
Ariel, you can call it a homer pick if you want. It's not.
By the way, that probably will be in Prop Queen coming up on Sunday.
I'm gonna be busting these babies out this weekend.
Woo! You did that with your winning bets, huh? You've been on fire. That's what you're buying with your winnings?
Oh man, I love it.
All right, we're just moments away from kickoff, so let's get to as many social media questions as we possibly can. We're going to start with Ed. Ed is asking, he's stuck between Najee Harris, Dante Foreman, or David Montgomery. I'm going to send this one to you, Russ. Who you riding with?
Ooh, I know it's not the first one. I call Najee the thriller. So this is between Dante Foreman and David Montgomery, and you know what? one of those guys don't have to share reps. Like I was sharing reps with reps. Why do people just keep wanting Brett? You know, I just don't understand it. But I know what they should want, and that's Deontay Foreman going up against those Atlanta Falcons, because you know what he's going to do? He's going to pound the Falcons like I pound the future. Get it?
Wasn't sure how you were going to land that one, but I fully agree. That is definitely Foreman in that situation. Harmon, I'm going to send this one to you. It's JR asking, needs to sit one in a non-PPR. Joe Mixon, Ramondre Stevenson, or Brian Robinson. Who goes to the bench?
Yeah, this is not quite as extreme as the last running back. Like, I need to sit one of these great options. So I'm going to be super nice to you here, JR. I do think Brian Robinson stands out as the guy that I would rank third in this group here. Like, I think Joe Mixon, as inefficient as it has been so far, great matchup against the Cleveland Browns. They should be a little bit more balanced between run-pass we've seen the last 2 weeks with Jamar Chase not in there. Ramondre Stevenson is just so good, and I think pretty much the center identity piece of that offense right now. Brian Robinson, the volume will be there. Pretty decent game script, but I do think he ranks third out of those guys, so that's the one I would bench.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I like Brian Robinson, but he does not belong in a conversation with the other two. Let's move along to Kevin. I will take this one. It is a full PPR league, and Kevin is asking Jacoby Myers, Robert Woods, or George Pickens for the flex. I'll just tell you right off the top that Robert Woods is basically never the answer. This one for me, between Jacoby Myers and George Pickens, I can't stand the idea of sitting George Pickens. I love him. I'm playing him a bunch of places, but this is a full PPR, and I gotta lean into Jacoby Myers here. Jacoby Myers has been so bankable most of the season, just getting peppered with targets. I think in a full PPR, he definitely has the highest floor here. Pickens is probably the swing for the fences play. If I thought I was a big underdog, maybe I would start him, but otherwise I'm going Jacoby. One more here. This is from Stephen and Ray Lynn asking, Tua or Kirk Cousins need a win badly? Russ, it's a quarterback question, so I'm going to you.
Ooh, we haven't talked about Tua today. This one's a little spicy. He's going against the Detroit Lions. We've seen what all those guys did. You remember Geno? Remember Geno, who couldn't get on the field because I was in Seattle? You saw what he did against those Lions? And now Tua's coming back against the Lions. And I hate Captain Kirk. He says, you like that? And people like that. Tua doesn't have a saying. Tua's a baller. I like Tua. Let's go, Tua. Let's ride.
Can't argue with that. Tua doesn't have a saying. Gotta play him. All right, Matt, what is cooking in the chat right now?
Oh my God! I mean, Tank doing that Russell Wilson voice sends like a shiver down my spine. I feel very haunted here for Halloween. I want to hear from Sean Dunkerley with the pumpkin emojis, the jack-o'-lantern emojis in the YouTube chat right now. We've got Terry McLaurin or Antonio Gibson in the flex in a standard league. Sean, this one's pretty simple. When Terry McLaurin is out there with Taylor Heineke, ODU's finest is saying one thing. He's saying, Terry McLaurin, I choose you. So we're going with Terry McLaurin. He throws the ball to Terry McLaurin all the time. We are feeling much, much better about Terry McLaurin now that Taylor Heineke is in the mix there. So I'm going to Terry McLaurin over Antonio Gibson. I want you boys to answer this one from Keon. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I'm going to try. We got a clown emoji, a skull emoji, a jack-o'-lantern emoji, a lot of emojis there. Would you play Michael Pittman or Eno Benjamin in a PPR flex? Andy, you're usually the most reasonable person on this show between the three of us. Now I think you are clearly the most reasonable person on the show between the three of us, so I'm going to toss it to you. Would you play Michael Pittman or Eno Benjamin? There's a lot of Eno Benjamin talk in the chat this morning.
Oh, things have taken a bad turn when the guy who is clearly wearing the wrong wig is the sensible voice of reason. So difficult to bench Michael Pittman in a full PPR, but I think I might do it here. We have a new quarterback situation for Indy. I don't know who to trust in the Colts receiving core, and Eno Benjamin with no James Conner. We saw it last week. That guy's going to score a touchdown. He's going to deliver plenty of yardage. I don't think Eno Benjamin is a star necessarily, but I think on volume, in a matchup that is not one that we need to stay away from, I think Eno Benjamin is probably the play.
All right, well, that's that. I don't even know what to say. Great stuff, Andy. I don't even want to know what Russ has to say about that question, so we're going to skip Russ.
Right.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Fantasy Football Live. Thank you, Broncos Country. Remember to check back in
all the way
every
back across
Sunday,
the pond.
noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and keep up with the latest analysis, daily content, our podcast, and of course, updated player rankings at Yahoo Fantasy. Good luck to all of your squads in Week 8.
Let's
and
ride.
Thank you for watching.
Let's ride. Broncos Country. Let's ride.
Wow.